This video is brought to you by Surfshark VPN. Arius, your tanks and choppers are looking a little diseased. Have you been browsing the web without proper security again? I'll take that as a yes. Every day your browsing experience is full of surveillance, web limitation, and data mining. Demons, don't forget about the demons. All without you even noticing, most likely. But thankfully, Surfshark VPN is here to give you an easy one-for-all solution no matter your product or device. Windows, Android, or Apple, with the click of a button, Surfshark turns you into an anonymous and hard-to-track user, giving you more freedom on the internet, keeping you away from prying eyes, and preventing companies from doing asinine things like geo-blocking. Forget this, video and streaming services limit your library simply because of where you live. How do you live with yourself? Surfshark VPN makes all that a non-issue though. You simply start up their service, choose your location, preferably somewhere far away from Demaria Island, wherever the hell that is. Then you refresh the page and there you go. You now got access to your favorite show that you couldn't watch before. Get an exclusive Surfshark deal today. Visit the link in the description below and enter promo code JohnnyVersus for an extra 3 months free on top of that. Thanks for checking it out. It really does help support the channel. Thanks to Surfshark VPN for the sponsor. And now let's continue on with the show. Welcome back, everybody. Glad to see you here. And, well, today's subject is one that I've certainly heard things about. Not really being a Devil May Cry fan, though. What I might have heard people talk about the second game in this series that never really stuck with me because I figured, well, I don't plan on playing DMC2 anytime soon anyway, so why hold on to that information? And then I finally get to reviewing the series for this channel, and among every game I was going to look at, it was this game and another that piqued my curiosity the most. So anyway, the original Devil May Cry was a success for Capcom. Folks loved the action, the energy. Maybe it was a little too difficult in a couple of spots, but generally reception was very positive, so you can bet your ass the sequel was greenlit as soon as possible, because by the end of 2002, everyone had a PlayStation 2 in their homes. Gotta make that bread, as they say. And Capcom was making some kind of bread with this one. You know, it's funny, I was talking about Castlevania in the last video, and this cover, I mean, I like it, but why does Dante look like a vampire in this? And why does he look so angry? Oh. Alright, I gotta start with the plot first, of course, but this is pretty much the first game again with a couple of names changed, and it's somehow less significant. Dante is back hunting down demons as he wants to do, but good, talk about whiplash. Gone are the wisecrack shit. Gone is the dialogue almost entirely. This Dante barely speaks, and when he does, it is some of the most low energy shit I have ever heard.
Well, what have we here?
Do you have to ask? What are you doing, Granny?
Forget about me. Kill Arius.
Don't worry. I've got you.
You must repent your sins.
Don't speak. Just die.
It's like he's a robot, and if he talks too much, he'll use the last of his battery reserve and shut down. He also flips a coin now to decide if he's gonna help. What is he, Harvey Dent? We even learn later that the coin is double-sided, so I guess Dante just does this for a laugh. I couldn't say. It's funny, I remember when DMC, the reboot, came out, people were calling that Dante, what was it? Dante? Because he wasn't the lovable asshole folks loved. But I wonder, were folks calling this guy Dante too? Because I gotta tell you, this guy ain't Dante. He's a Dante cosplayer. Looks good, I'll give him that. Love the hair. His shoulders are broad as shit. You can fucking land a plane on those damn things. Got a real Giga Chad face, I noticed. And his outfit is simply amazing. He's got one good line, just the one.
King? Yeah. Here's your crown.
Besides that plank of wood, and not even the good kind either. It's like budget plywood.
Anytime you're ready, kid.
Plague tells jokes. Knock him dead, buddy. Oh, that's a good one. You're killing me.
Instead of Trish, we get Lucia, a woman who is actually a demon created by the bad guy but wants nothing to do with him and wants to live her own life. Slightly different than Trish, but in essence basically the same thing, with none of the weird romantic subtext with Dante and the girl who looks like his mom. Now that I think about it, where is Trish? I'm not too sure how long it's been since the end of the first game, but Trish is nowhere to be seen outside of being an unlockable character after completing hard mode with Dante. Was she on paid leave? Maybe there was a convention happening around the time Dante was called to action. Either way, she's just gone with no explanation given, relegated to unlockable character status after just one game.
I can't believe Vanessa, my bride, my one true love, the woman who taught me the beauty of monogamy, was a fembot all along. Wait a tick. That means I'm single again! Oh, behave! Yeah!
And instead of Mundus, we have the illegitimate son of Nobunaga Oda and Kazuya Mishima. The hell was that? Why did he make that noise? But hot damn, what a nothing character. The most one-note of villains. No, fuck that. It's no. There's nothing here. And you know, I don't mind when a villain is a little thin. They can still be entertaining in some fashion, but he just stands around a whole bunch like he can't be bothered with any of this. Shit, when you fight him the first time, look at him. He's completely indifferent. And at first I thought this was the game's way of telling me, oh, he's not even using like a tenth of his power, I bet. Can't be bothered because everything else is just small potatoes. No, he's just fucking incompetent and is grossly unprepared for the ass kicking he's about to get from Dante and Lucia. And what a shift in personality too. The man is barely online when you meet with him, for most of the story. But towards the end, my dude is suddenly screeching.
My dream! My life! I was going to be the king of this world!
Also sounds a lot like Dr. Wily from the Ruby Spears Mega Man cartoon. Anyone else think that?
Prepare to leave at once for the power station. I'll show Dr. Light and his robo-fools who the real genius is. Won't I, my little pet?
Before I knew it, I finished the game with Dante. Okay, that took less time than my playthrough on the first game, but okay, I see now why the game has two discs. You got a disc for Dante and a disc for Lucia, like Resident Evil 2, a CD for each scenario. And it did seem like the game was more interested in Lucia, so maybe that's where the real meat of the story was. So I started playing with Lucia, and outside of a couple of sequences when you're underwater, most of her stages were the same as Dante if they weren't just straight up removed. I finished Lucia's story in less than 3 hours. Her adventure was much shorter than Dante's, and as for her side of the story, what story? The only real thing of significance that we learn of Lucy is that she's a demon created by Arius. That's it. Actually, now that I'm saying this out loud, is it safe to say it's the only thing of interest in this plot? Does anything else happen in the story? I gotta think for a second. Well, there's this old lady you meet in the beginning that tells Dante, hey, can you do us a solid and get rid of this guy? Dude's using demon powers to be an asshole. If you help us, I'll share something about your father, Sparta. That's completely dropped afterwards. The game never follows up on that. Though, to be fair, I don't think Dante cared anyway, but why set up that carrot so blatantly like that and just forget about it? Maybe she's just getting forgetful in her old age. Things just happen in this story. You learn of your goal in like the first 10 minutes, and the rest of the game is Dante and Lucia heading to this building and fighting demons. It is very thin, very light on dialogue, very light on a lot of things actually, and the final boss for Dante is Blaze from Mortal Kombat. I don't know how we got here or where Dante is going at the end of it all, but okay. That was a game. I immediately took to the internet to see what was up because this game reeked of compromise. The humongous nothing burger that was the story, Dante not really acting like Dante, the short game length. Why did they think they needed to break the game into 2 discs? It's the PlayStation 2. Both campaigns could have easily fit inside one CD. So weird. So I'm looking up this game's development for research, and the first thing I noticed is that Devil May Cry 2 would greet consumers in January of 2003. January? That's the forbidden month. Nobody makes any money during that except fitness centers, and even then that's only for a week. Either they had strong hopes for this game because of the name, or something fucked up and they missed the 2002 holiday season. And then I was shocked to learn that Hideki Kamiya had nothing to do with this game. In fact, he's gone for good for the rest of the series. He did some advising for the next game I'll be looking at, Dante's Awakening, but that's it, one game and he's gone. Not that he didn't want to work on the sequel, it's just that Capcom didn't give him the heads up and gave developmental duties to Capcom Dev Studio 1, which primarily consisted of developers who worked on arcade games. The way I see it, arcade games were on the way out for some time, right? And what was once a thriving market for Capcom was likely now hemorrhaging money from the company. The turn of the millennium was all about the home console market, so I guess they figured, well shit, we gotta give these folks to work on something. Let's give them the second Devil May Cry, even though that wasn't the kind of game the studio made. And let's not tell Hideki Kamiya, what does he know? He only created the fucking series. Development of the game, unsurprisingly, would be a disaster in the coming months. You had developers who were working in uncharted territory, plans being scrapped because of 9/11, I'm not fucking kidding about that. And because Capcom was at a point where they were making a lot of games at once, manpower was spread thin across the board. It was a hectic, incredibly unhealthy time to be a developer for Capcom. Devil May Cry 2's development would eventually reach a standstill, getting so bad that the original director of this game, whoever the hell that was, to this day folks still can't find the answers to that, they would end up leaving, and Capcom would recruit Hideaki Itsuno of Star Gladiator and Rival Schools fame as replacement director to essentially reorganize the whole project. But instead of restarting from scratch, maybe get some insight from the folks who actually worked on the first game, let alone the dude who helped make the series, no. Capcom only gave him about 6 months to pick up the pieces and have the final product ready for release. Predictably, according to the man himself, it was utter hell, working under incredibly strenuous conditions, the constant late nights. The dude was coughing up blood at one point. He would end up not being satisfied with the final product. I couldn't tell you why. But since he didn't want his legacy to just be strictly tied to what would be considered one of the worst, if not the worst game in the Devil May Cry series, he would immediately approach Capcom when all was said and done to properly direct the third game, should there even be a third game. I am amazed after learning all of that, this game even saw the light of day. I gotta say, I think Capcom was really hoping that the name alone would push enough units to make the struggle worth it. And in the end, it kind of was worth it. Obviously, it didn't kill the franchise, we still got other games to talk about, but like any other up-and-coming series from Capcom around this time, if it had the same kind of problems this game did, it'd be a fucking death sentence. But no, financially speaking anyway, the game was a moderate success. Not to the extent of the first game, but it did well enough. Critics and fans, though, were not as kind, and for years it remained the black mark on the series next to the other black mark. I ended up not hating the game. Like, for as nightmarish as it was to make the game, right? It could have been a lot worse, but ain't exactly high praise now, is it? But Devil May Cry 2 does have its qualities. First off, just for clarification, I switched over to the HD collection for this on Steam. I just wanted to play the original on PlayStation 2, but I'm done being a nostalgic curmudgeon for now, so HD collection it is for the remainder of the marathon. And it was fine. Had the game crash near the end of my first run with Dante, but besides that, it was stable, clean visuals, no load times, responsive controls. To say again, I really like Dante's design in this game. Lucia to a similar extent. When you beat the game once, you get these alternate costumes where the two are wearing clothing apparel from real-life clothing company Diesel. You know, small indie company, Capcom's got bills to pay too. It's silly, but no shit, I think these two look damn good in these clothes. I'm shooting up a storm and doing Devil May Cry shit while also looking pretty fly. Diesel, no, we don't sell gas, and you're not funny with your Kevin Nash references. I think the game looks fine enough. The opening area and the village and the ruins you explore around the midway point look okay. Obviously, I'm talking within the context of the PlayStation 2, so everything's aged to a point, but I still think it's fine. It's when you get to the city where things get iffy. The whole game has a monotonous color palette, but these areas, what happened here? I know demons are causing things to go to shit, but Jesus. What doesn't help is the game overcorrecting a problem of the original. Despite thinking that game looks good, the castle was pretty cramped and the fixed camera angles didn't do any favors. In this game, not only is the fixed camera still a problem to some degree, and it especially loves to flip all over the place when you're trying to explore locales, Mission 14 being the fucking worst with that shit. Level design is now very spacious, so broad that it makes ground travel incredibly tiresome. And for whatever reason, your current position is not marked on the map. And I gotta tell you, that's a great way for immediately telling me that it's fucking worthless. Why did they do that? It's such a basic thing, but it's just not here. I guess I'll just use my eyes and try to remember if I've been to this corner before, but I don't know, a lot of locales kinda look alike. You'll find yourself entering Devil Trigger mode just for the faster foot travel or spamming the new dodge roll repeatedly because guess what? It's faster than regular movement. Look at me go, I look like an asshole, but it is faster than just running, so I will do this as much as possible. And I know Lewis is editing this and he thinks backdashing repeatedly in Castlevania takes him out of it, so I know this must be driving him nuts. Oh, he does that too. Well, that ain't as fucking funny. Still, try to keep your surroundings in mind when doing this, because when you dodge roll near a wall, you'll run and jump off of it like you're in the Matrix or some other shit. It's flashy, it looks cool, but I never ended up needing it for combat. It was just something I found myself doing by accident and getting caught off guard by it every time. This could have been useful in another game, but not here, because goddamn, these areas are so large. I know I said that already, but it bears repeating because it also has a detrimental effect on the gameplay. From what I played so far, Devil May Cry is a series where you're rewarded with higher ranks when you're able to lay on consistent damage, but that's harder to achieve in this game because enemies can be placed so far apart from one another, and since the most reliable way of building rank is with your sword, since once again guns by themselves don't do diddly dick for it, what ends up happening is you're doing your basic combos, then frantically whipping out the gun just to keep the momentum going. Now, I'll be the first to say, I didn't mind this too much. A part of me liked the challenge of maintaining a high rank, snapping to another enemy on a dime and mowing them down with bullets as I slowly, and I mean slowly, approach them, and then slash them to bits with the sword once I'm close enough. And if guns aren't ideal, I could dodge roll to their location before the rank dropped. There's fun to be had in that, but that's about the only fun I had, because as I soon found out, Devil May Cry 2 lacked in what I call challenge. Maybe that's too nice. It's totally fucking brain dead, man. But before we get there, so I'm getting a feel for this game. First off, I had to see if the jump button was on triangle again. It's not. Thank fuck for that. Okay, swordplay felt about the same. Oh, there's even a quick switch button for guns now. I like that. And side note, I appreciate you guys telling me that there was a quick switch button for weapons in the first game. This is what happens when I don't consult the manual before playing the game. Though to be fair, I don't think it's something the game directly tells you, unless, let me check the options screen. Oh, fuck. I also had the double jump by default now. That was great to see, and the jump itself felt a little better to use. It's still more for verticality, but I enjoy using it. Also, the dodge roll. I know I talked about it before, but there is now just a dedicated button for the dodge roll. It's not restricted anymore to just being a lock-on thing. You can do it whatever now. Works well enough too. I got some mileage out of it, in a matter of speaking, but in the heat of combat, don't expect to be able to snap to a dodge roll from a combo effortlessly. You have to wait until the sword animation finishes before you can roll, so don't think you can just roll whenever and avoid everything. As I'm fighting demons, I start to notice I'm doing the same 4-hit combo repeatedly. On top of that, I'm finding new weapons of various sizes and strength. I give them a shot, but Dante's still doing the same combo animations. What the hell? There are no different weapon styles for this game? If every weapon acts the same, am I correct to assume that the Vendetta is just straight up the best choice because it hits the hardest according to the game? I also tried timing button presses for different attacks like in the first game, but that wasn't working. But then I'd see myself doing different sword slashes at what looked to be seemingly random instances. I thought at first, wait, is it random? No. It's just this game's method of doing different combos, which they don't tell you about, and I make sure to look in the game. It ain't there, no. You have to, what is it, like tilt the analog stick in any direction as like a button press in the middle of a combo chain? Like there's some attacks that you can pull off when you're holding the directional button down as you're doing an attack, like the launch maneuvers, but for all the other ones, you have to press the analog stick in a random direction, like as part of a chain. It's difficult to explain, and just as difficult to consistently pull off. Even when I found out how it was done, I still slipped up and did the regular shit when before I thought it responded just fine. Either way, it was still lame to see that there were no different weapon styles in this. Also, this fucking lock-on. The game by default has an auto lock-on. No matter if they're on or off screen, if there is an enemy in the vicinity, your character will face them to help aim your attacks. And because of that, I don't mind this when I'm actively trying to kill things. It does help keep my combo going. But when I'm just trying to break a door or flick a switch like these that require about 100 fucking hits to activate, man, this shit gets annoying. If you don't know how to disable the lock-on manually, it's the right trigger button, just a heads up. Your character will refuse to focus on what you actually want to hit, and it's so aggravating. Ugh, there's even some switches in midair that are just the worst because of the lock-on shit, and because air combos aren't really a thing in this game. Look at this, trust me, this is about as awkward as it looks. Oh, that fucking boss with the skulls and the diamonds floating in the air. Ugh. God, fuck this fight. I just find it weird how there's a separate button for disabling lock-on when I think it just would have been better if it were a toggle. Or shit, let me use the right analog stick to switch between lock-on targets. I would have liked that too. But let's keep it real. All of this is assuming you're even using swords. I mean, I don't think you can activate switches for projectiles, but for everything else, Jesus. Devil Trigger and guns. And this goes for both characters because the two have their share of differences, and in the end, I think I prefer Lucia over Dante because I like her ground game more than Dante's, but none of it really matters when you realize how little of the game asks for you and the overkill that comes with certain mechanics. Devil Trigger is insanely busted in this, not only being easy to access because you build meter for it in no time, and some locales will even just give you a free recharge that you can spam to your heart's content. This game attempts to give you platform challenges on the occasion while at the same time giving you easy access to Devil Trigger, which you can just fucking fly with. What? Its damage output is fucking ridiculous too. Things melt so fast in Devil Trigger, even faster if you know how to pull off certain moves with it, like this multi-stab sword thing. I wish I knew how to do this at will. You shoot projectiles out of your hand in this form like a goddamn machine gun, and it shreds HP like tissue paper. If you enter Devil Trigger as Dante when you have a small amount of health left, you enter this incredibly badass looking super demon form. I read that it's called Majin Devil Trigger from the community. That's a pretty cool name. But not only are you completely invincible during this, but your damage, holy shit, look at that. That is so broken. I don't think Lucia gets something like this, but her Devil Trigger, I mean, not only is it super strong, but she's also so fucking fast on the ground. I found myself switching to this just so I can cover the ground much faster and end the mission sooner, you get me? Both characters can also get these different amulets for their weapons in Devil Trigger form. They can either add different elemental effects to your weapons or give your Devil Trigger a passive ability. But man, I found this shit pretty inconsequential. A lot of potential for sure, but this ain't the game to tap into that. Let's put it this way. Until Lewis mentioned it to me in a Discord DM, I completely forgot about it as a gameplay mechanic. Oh my god, once you realize just how powerful guns are in this game, it is so easy to grow complacent in just using those. Right away, I'm talking like in the first few encounters, I start to see, holy shit, enemies are so easy to stagger with guns, and I'm just using the default weapons. Look at them. I'm juggling them with little to no effort, and I haven't even upgraded anything yet. Whether it's the ebony and ivory, the shotgun, the missile launcher, Lucia's default throwing knives, not the submachine guns because I found those pretty worthless. Guns are ridiculously strong in this game, in both the ability to stagger enemies and in raw power. If you want to, you can just get as far away as possible and safely pelt enemies with bullets from a distance. A lot of these guys don't really have any long range options, including most boss fights, and even if they do, you have more than enough time to dodge things because you see them coming from a mile away. Yes, you won't get a good combo rank like before, but I have to ask, in Devil May Cry 2, who fucking cares about that in this game? Who cares if things are more expensive in this game than before? Like, I thought this was going to be a pain in the ass at first too, because I'm seeing upgrades costing the tens of thousands, but then I see, man, I don't really need any of this shit because of how simple the game is. You're good to beat the game from minute one, I am serious. And you'll still be swimming in red orbs for the shop because of how much are thrown at you from just exploring and completing missions. But sadly, like it or not, with some bosses, guns are your best bet. Not just because of the damage, not just because of the lack of dedicated air combos, but because it's the fastest means of dealing with them, and oh my god. Some of these guys are just so laughably bad that you just want to move on as fast as you can. The floating faces near the end of the game, what a fucking snooze fest. This giant Mothra, only thing interesting about this is the larvae you deal with. You know it's faster to deliberately get eaten by these things and explode them from within than trying to combo them to death? Don't worry about your health either, fucking Devil Trigger will give it right back. Oh man, the fucking demon chopper, I'm sorry, the infested chopper. What's it infested with? THC? This thing ain't a Devil May Cry boss, it's a Metal Gear boss. But even the Hind D makes for a more interesting fight. In this game, oh, fuck, wait.
He might be okay.
It doesn't stop there either. The demons are also going total tank. Once you get close to them, they can't hurt you anymore though. Enjoy the free ass rank. Some enemies just look unfinished. Like the little goblin guys, the ones that are on fire too. When they're not taking 5 years to attack you once, they just stand there completely motionless, like they weren't completed yet. Absolutely brain dead, this game. Again, I am surprised the game even released in this state because it's clear things are not okay in Devil May Cry 2. I finished the game with both characters, surprised by how sudden it ended, how empty I felt. I saw I unlocked this bloody palace mode. Okay, it's like the Dark Room in Onimusha. Well, I suppose it could have its own kind of fun. Mowing down the same boring enemies with the same boring tactics. I put it down after about 10 minutes. I got bored and I read that this place caps at level 9,999. For what reason do I have for going that far outside of an achievement? Morbid curiosity got the better of me, so I went and did another playthrough of Dancing in hard mode to see if things got more interesting. Not really. Some enemies are a little more aggressive here and there, and I'd argue it makes some boss encounters more engaging because of that, if only because, well, they have more chances to do other things, but everything else is about the same, only they have more health, so they take longer to kill, and in this game, that is like walking through a swamp of molasses with 2-ton shoes. I saw that I unlocked Trish though when I finished it, so okay, that's pretty cool. They kept the best feeling character locked behind completing hard mode, what the shit. She's basically just Dante from the first game, same combos and everything, and for some reason she has the Sparta. That belongs to Dante, Trish, give it back, it doesn't belong to you. I was so burnt out by this point though, so I didn't play the whole game with her. She's got a goofy fucking devil trigger though, doesn't she? Her flight is just twirling upwards like Knights from Nights into Dreams. Check out her air raid though. This thing fucking annihilates a boss's health. Like holy shit, I think she's a little peeved that she was relegated to optional status. Well, alright, see what all the hubbub is about now. And I know to some of you this won't be that surprising. Shouldn't be surprising to me either, but sometimes I just like to head into things anyway because I want to affirm for myself what a game is really like. I know when I got a bunch of other people telling me, hey, this shit is pee-pee poo-poo. You know, it's a safe bet there, right? But I want to see for myself. I don't want to be one of those folks who just regurgitate shit other people say without getting the full context for myself. I think everyone should do that. Like, I'm glad you guys tune in to watch my opinion on videos, but I hope you don't just take what I say as gospel and spread it to other people and ignore the fucking shit out of your friends. Like, oh, well, some call me Johnny said this, or some call me Johnny said that. Oh, please don't do that. Like, form your own fucking opinions, please. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Devil May Cry 2 is one of the games ever made. It's clear, very clear, that this isn't anything close to resembling a finished product, and I can see glimmers of a really good game here and there. Like, legit, I think this game controls and moves better than the first, but everything else took a step backwards. The world design is too spacious and bleak, the game's balance feels like a mere suggestion, and the bare bones plot makes the whole thing feel very, very unexciting. That's it, isn't it? It's a boring hack and slash, and that just sounds wrong on paper, doesn't it? You can skip this one. Sometimes a game can still have entertainment and value, even if it is like some of the most mindless shit you've ever experienced, right? Like I have played plenty of games that I still play to this day, even if it's nothing special, right? But I think my problem with Devil May Cry 2, like from minute one, it is super mindless, and it just never picks up steam afterwards, or it just treads water, or you have to do a higher difficulty to try and get something out of it, but not even like in a way like there are things locked behind certain difficulties. It's just like, no, things just take longer to kill in this difficulty. So by virtue of that, there is more time for things to happen, but at the same, it's the same shit, only it just takes longer to do. I hope that makes some sort of sense, but hopefully things will get much better with the next game we're looking at, and I got a good feeling about that because this is Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening on the PlayStation 2, although I will be looking at the Switch version of this game next because I hear that is the most preferred version of the game to play. So okay, that's where I will be at next time. As always, thank you all for tuning in and watching me talk some bullshit for a couple of minutes. But before we wrap up, we got some more patrons to shout out, don't I? Holy fuck, I think I'm actually seeing the light at the end of this very long tunnel. Like, the names I've been reading for like the last couple of months have been like patron supporters since like when the whole thing started. And I'm finally getting to like the end of the list of like the first list. After this, we're gonna restart the whole thing over again and get some new names in this thing. But anyway, continuing where we left off, I just lost my fucking place here. I hate when I do that shit. Okay, so continuing where we left off with the $10 patron shoutouts. Again, apologies if I do butcher your name. I'm prone to doing that a lot. HCSPL. A layer is an AE layer. I think that's right. Cassette Productions, Cowlet, Moon Spirit, Jetser, Crimson Aurora, The Binding Blade, Yabuza, Jonathan Malakote, Ghostly Music 101, D3D, Archer Slam Bam, Karai, Jerry Gomez. Okay, that's the most normal name I've read so far. Selena Silva, Monkey Zebra Productions, a Connor McGrew channel. Demi Virtue, Ice Turtle, Flaccid Freddy, Bum the Pizza Guy, Devon Bauer, Sondox, Vermilion C, Mao T, That Irish Geek, Hetty Bobo, Malicious 9, Nate Pixel, Last Legend, Aqua Blue Tunes, Ross, Philia Days, Orcanus Ofish 153, Gonic UK, David Mallory, Charlie Milla, No Intro 225, Sonic X Ethan Meyer, Conman McGregory, okay, Ben Jones Goldie Ace, NB4Y, Sir Dan Funds Things, Scott McGuire, Sarah Lantern, Groovy Caster, Jacob Corpus, Paper, Ben Howard, Aaron Bell, Steinpine, FCR Brawler, Axel Fullbuster, Joshua Hunter, That Michael Guy, oh my god, Hulk Hogan here, Jacob Tucker, Melanade M, Darkwind, Spartan, Splash, Emister 2000, Joe, Conifer SSR, Vivian Salmo, Kevin Nunez, Nicholas Meff, Ross from Command Prompt,
Ryan Harden, Jonathan Ramirez, Teal Opal, Meth Fleet, Trenton Brown, Ian Oliver, and finally for today, Joshua Lipson. All this and more in our next video. As always, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. You guys do take care of yourselves and each other. Have yourselves a fantastic night and take care.